Hey y'all, welcome to another episode at Project Nine Oaks. I feel like we've gotten to a good milestone in the camper build. We're going to be working on the electrical work today. This is kind of just the AC side of things. Going to be putting in the panel and the outlets, things like that. It's going to be more of a rough-in kind of project, so nothing to finish up yet, but just getting that started and figuring out where the outlets go, all that kind of stuff. I've got most of the components for it, so I'm going to show you kind of a close-up of that. So appreciate if you stick around, learn as I go, and hopefully it helps you out in your project. So let's get started. All right, I've got most of the equipment laid out here, and so we'll start off with, I guess, the front. So the first thing that'll happen is the 30 amp outlet. This is going to be installed on the camper itself, and it has a 10 gauge wire that'll run from the back, and that'll travel, in the camper walls up here to the box. Actually had to get this from a local electrical supply, where kind of your big box stores didn't have this kind, but it was a 40 amp box is what it's rated for, but just have a 30 amp breaker in it. And I got these kind of skinny breakers that I can add, have more circuits through here than just the two that it provides. So I got to put a ground bar here, a bus bar for the ground, and then I have some other circuit breakers to put in here. But the 10 amp, the 10 gauge wire is going to go from this 30 amp plug, kind of come into here, into the top here, and that's what's going to supply the power. So then we're going to go from this box and going to go out to all these outlets and boxes here. So I have it kind of drawn out. I'm not sure, let me turn the light down if you could see, but this is kind of just drew it out real quick. I'm going to have a 20 amp circuit. It's going to go to the AC. That same circuit's going to go to the hot water heater and the outlet in the bathroom. That's the 20 amp circuit, so that's going to run AC, water heater, and potentially maybe a hair dryer. What likely is going to happen is we won't be able to run all of those at the same time, and there's a switch on the hot water heater. We can turn it off and on, so we can, that's going to be on just a limited amount of time, only right before we want to take a shower. So I think that's going to work. And then I have the 15 amp circuit, which is going to go to all the outlets in the camper itself. So here we go. We got different boxes here, outlets. I have an exterior outlet I'm going to put out with a cover. The two main outlets here, these are going to be near the two beds. We're going to have bunk beds and just a regular bed, and we're going to have outlets with these USB ports built in, so we'll be able to charge devices with those outlets, or with the USB part. And then we have GFCI outlet and other regular outlets. I think I need to get one more GFCI outlet, and you can wire this where this outlet will run the other outlets as well. So I will wire that in. Then I got the 12 gauge wire for running around the inside, and then that's the 10 gauge wire. We're just going to use a little piece of it to connect that 30 amp outlet to the box itself. So that's it for kind of the AC side of things, and all the battery and all the DC wires. I got a little bit of it here in the corner, but we're not going to use that just yet. But we're going to go ahead and get started on putting this together. Okay, so I want to show you guys what I've been doing on the main panel. So I went and bought this panel box. It's a 40 amp GE box, but it's going to just be a 30 amp service, so that's just for the size, I believe. This was the old box. You can see the difference in the size, but this box is an old style, I forgot what the brand breaker is, but it doesn't, it's just like the brand doesn't exist anymore. And this was how this worked out. You'd have a main service, the 30 amp breaker here, and then you just had one other spot. And I wanted to have a 20 amp and a 15 amp circuit, and it didn't have space for that. So I went with this one, and I'm gonna show you, let's see here. So here is the, I got these slim GE circuit breakers, and they kind of fit in here, and I could end up having 4. And I don't have kind of this master service breaker that this one does. What's going to happen is the service is going to come in here from the shore power, I guess you'd call it, from the campground, and it's going to come in here, and basically the hot goes to the circuit breakers, and then the neutral goes to this neutral bar, and then the ground goes to this ground bar. And when I bought this, I don't know if you can see, there's the ground bar over here. So basically what these bars are doing are just joining them together. It's just a way to join all of the whites and all the ground together. And it didn't have a ground block built when it came with this, so I ended up just taking it out of the old one and put it in here. So what you're doing is this is kind of set up for 240 volts will come in here, and this is actually a split to where the two hots of the 240 volts will come in, one hot here, and then your white, neutral, and then your ground. That way, you know, it's 120 volts on each of those hot lines, and so then you just have 120 volts going to the rest of your camper after the circuit breaker. So since I'm not doing that, I'm just have a 30 amp service coming in, and that is only one hot wire. The hot wire will come in here, and then I'll just have a jumper that connects it to the rest of these. So that way, the hot the power needs to go to each of the circuit breakers, and I'm going to have a 20 amp here. Actually, I don't necessarily need to have a jumper, because for right now, I'm just going to have these just two breakers. So I have a 20 amp service and then a 15 amp circuit that's after that. So these kind of slim breakers are pretty cool. They kind of allow you to have more space in here. You know, obviously, if you can't have a bunch of 20s and then have them all on and using them, it would obviously overrun the 30 amp that's going to be the breaker at the campground. So you still have to watch it. This doesn't give you just like free power, but this is a way to kind of get more circuits in there. And so we're going to go install this. I ended up taking up these wire clamps out of the old one, so it would just be nice the Romex wire to go in here and clamp it down, and you know, just have nothing moving. And so we're going to go ahead and mount this on the wall, and then I'll start running some of that wire to all the outlets. And actually, I'm going to go show you the outlets next. I'll show you where I'm putting all those. So let's do that, and then I'll get this mounted. All right, so this is a tour of the camper. I'm going to show you where all the outlets are. So over here on the right, we're going to have the kitchen area. So I have an outlet at the bottom for the refrigerator. So that's going to be that one there. The refrigerator is just going to sit right here. And then I have an outlet up here, which is at the end of the kitchen, kind of living room area. And that's going to be, let me find one of those. So that is going to be one of these outlets. And this has the USB option. And the issue with these is that they're pretty deep outlets. You can see they kind of take up most of the room of the 2x4 here, so I needed to have a deeper box in there. So anyway, so that's what this one is there for. We're going to use this to charge our phones and stuff. So that is for kind of the living room area. Then coming along, as I trip over some stuff, you have another outlet. This is going to be kind of right above the countertop. You're going to have a countertop right here with the window and sink and stuff. So this is going to be kind of the kitchen outlet. The breaker panel is going to sit up here. I've already got the mounting screws up here, and that's just going to be behind a cabinet on the wall. So we have that, and then we're going to come over here into the bathroom, and up here it's just going to use the same spot, but that's going to be the outlet for the bathroom. And then we'll kind of back up this way, and I'll show you. What I ended up doing was removing the closet in this camper, and we're going to end up having bunk beds that kind of go back into the closet. So this whole side over here, you can kind of see where the chair is. That's going to be a bottom bunk. It's going to go into where the old closet was, and then we're going to have a top bunk, which is going to be almost even with the top of the window, maybe a little below. And I'm hoping that's going to hinge over and hinge up so you can sit on the bottom bunk as a bench. But it's going to go back into here where the closet was, and it's not quite the full length, but we'll have another board here that you're going to set their luggage on. So they have an outlet here for them when they're in their bunks, and then we're going to have lights and stuff. But so there's that outlet, and then we're going to have another one which is, you know, just kind of back behind this wall in the closet area, or the trunk area, where I'm gonna plug in the hot water heater. So we're gonna be finishing up this rough end this morning. So let's get started, trying to just pick up where I left off. All right, so I got the rough in completed for all the AC current side of things. We're gonna start off with the outlets. I got an exterior outlet down there on the floor. Just gotta put the covers on it and stuff later. Comes up the wall, you know, runs down this wall to this outlet. This is gonna be one of those USB outlets as well. Comes up through the top here and down, and I don't know, I'm not an electrician, but I think you could do something where it could be in the middle of the run, go into the panel, but I don't know how to do that. So I have it actually going this way down the camper to this other outlet over there. So here's the other outlet. That's gonna be another USB outlet, and then it goes around and down to the refrigerator outlet, back up to the outlet that's gonna be the kitchen, and that's going to be a GFCI outlet, and likely it's going to be one where it'll control the other outlets. I'll have to look into that, where this one outlet will make the rest the same, the GFCI, and it'll have the trip here. So I'm going to look into that. I'm not sure. And then it comes over here to the panel down here, and this is going to be a 15 amp circuit, and I don't have the 15 amp circuit breaker, so I think I'm going to do another video on just the breaker panel, this kind of 30 amp sub panel, when it's all wired up, so you can get like a good view of where all the wires are going, and hopefully it works. But I have another, this is going to be the 20 amp circuit that's going up here. Just kind of laid it across the top for now and left a lot of slack because the AC is going to go here and I haven't got it yet. So that's that one. It goes across the back here to the bathroom, to that outlet, another 20 amp circuit, goes all the way over here, down, and then it's going to goes out to the trunk, and that's where the outlet is for the hot water heater and the battery charger. So you got that. Then I have the oh, and I think before I called these 12 gauge wire. This is 14. Then this orange wire is the actual service that comes in, and this is the 10 gauge wire that's going to come in through the top and connect to that top pin there on the where the breakers go. And I've run that wire all the way down, and it's going to go out the camper here. It's going to be somewhat near where the water inlet is, and I haven't really figured out the order of operations here. Is it plugs into the back. However, I'm thinking I'm going to want to paint the outside of the camper first before I cut another hole in it, just so I don't have you know, just one less thing to mask over. So I'm going to try to I think temporarily hook it up. So anyway, that's going to be the main service where it comes in, you know, the main plug. Anyway, so that's it. I just wanted to give you a little overview of that rough in. Hope this helps you out in your project. We've got a little bit more to do. I got a lot of the 12 volt system to do next, and I got to get some of those fixtures to see where I'm going to put those. Put the lights and things like that. I'm not really sure how bright they are, so I'm gonna wait to get those in the mail. I've ordered them, and when they come in, then I'll start roughing in the 12 volt system. But anyway, so that's the system for me for the AC side of the electrical system in my vintage camper. So appreciate y'all sticking around.